Hello, welcome back to See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I'm Russell, and again, I'm alone. So Emma couldn't make it again, so yeah, it's all good though. So this week, I'm going to start how I did last week and go into things that I've been watching and things I've been up to, and then get more into the, topic for the week. So, since last week, also, I'm sorry, this is going out late. I'm actually recording this on Monday night instead of Sunday night because time has gotten away from me. So, this week, I saw The Shape of Water again with Emma, and again, I think it's fantastic. I rewatched The Big Sick, which was another amazing movie, or is another amazing movie. I can't speak today. I think that's all I've been watching Narcos. But apart from that, I actually think I'm starting on another short film, which will be cool, and that's in the works, with somebody I know here, and I think it'll be really, really cool. It's definitely an idea that I haven't, it's not my idea, but he wants me to be the cinematographer on it, so I think that'll be a fun thing that I can talk about on the show, and when that becomes more of something that is happening in my life at the time, but now it's just in the works. But yeah, I don't know what else I've been doing this week. Cleaning and cooking. That's what I've been up to since last week. And Valentine's Day stuff, which is super fun and always makes me realize that I'm the worst at shopping. I don't think I have ever really nailed shopping for anybody at any time ever, and I hope it's not because I'm insensitive or something. I think it's just because I don't understand what people want, and I always miscalculate what people like, or I get people what I think they'd like instead of what they actually like. I have no idea, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people always love what I get them, but in my opinion, every time I totally screw it up. So that's another thing. And it's funny for Emma and I, it all kind of starts around Christmas, because we have Christmas at the end of December. Then after that we have Valentine's Day, which is a little bit of a break, but then we also have this year's Emma and my 2-year anniversary, which is the end of February, beginning of March, technically the 29th, but it's either 28th or 1st, because 29th only happens once every 4 years. So that is a thing. Then 15 days after that is my birthday. Then a month after that's Emma's birthday. So that's a whole bunch of things that you either have to go be extra thoughtful about, or buy something, or you gotta be on your A game for all of those things. And it's fun. It is fun, but it can be a little stressful because there's one thing after another, and you have to keep pulling out all stops, because when it's Christmas, you're like, oh, I've been thinking about this one thing for all year for this person or whatnot. But when you have 4 or 5 things back to back to back, you're like, how can I get more creative, and how can I keep doing something? But yeah, that's my situation. Also, Valentine's Day is just it's not for dudes. It's definitely not. But it's one of those things. It's okay, cool. It's the middle of February, so we gotta celebrate this holiday. If anyone hates that opinion, I'm very sorry, but it's cool, and it's a nice way to go to dinner and stuff. But other than that, I'm that's my feeling, is that sound. But on a more happy note, what else have I been doing besides freaking out about Valentine's Day? I don't know. But I've been freaking out about a lot of stuff, and I think that brings us into this week's topic, is essentially just me panicking, a lot. And hopefully next week we'll have another guest or Emma. But who knows? Maybe. So it's been a lot of me panicking. So I guess the first thing is I recently watched a YouTube video about people covering up their webcams on their computers. And in all reality, I was like, oh, no one's going to hack in your webcam and like watch you or whatnot. However, I guess I was wrong. Apparently, it's super common. And I didn't know that until very recently. So I have started taping up my webcams on my desktop and my laptop now. And I'm thinking about doing it on my cell phone as well. But my cell phone is either like pointing straight up at the sky or in my pocket. So if someone's spying on me through there, you're going to see the inside of my pocket. So that's not super, super interesting. But on my computer, because how it's set up, it faces, it's facing me, and in my room right now, it's facing my bed. So creepy people can watch me sleep, which is weird. So I've covered that with duct tape now. And I've covered the one on my laptop as well, because I feel like that's the one that I'm most freaked out about, is the laptop one, because it's always with me and it's always open and seeing what I'm up to. But I don't know. I guess I don't really have anything to hide. But still, it freaks me out. And then, apart from that freaking me out, I had another thing that was like scaring me. Oh, yeah. So I've been thinking lately, since everyone on the internet, or not everyone, most people on the internet, especially like the YouTube side of people on the internet, just who I follow, and just everything online is just completely cattywampus and just going crazy. I'm thinking of potentially taking a social media diet, or just kind of dropping off social media altogether apart from this podcast. And I don't know what to do, because part of me and what I like to do is like stay up with like news and everything that's happening, and stay like socially relevant and like pop culturally relevant. Is you have to be online, and it like tethers you in, and you have that where you're like, oh, I can get the reference and I can have a conversation and I know what's happening to who and whatnot. But it just drives you crazy, or it drives me crazy, because I'll post like the podcast for like this, or I'll post something on Instagram or on Facebook, and I guess it drives, I think maybe it's meant to do this or unintentionally, but I'm usually not someone who really cares about the whole online validation with likes, but it does get to you a little bit. And I think someone would be lying by saying it doesn't. And because sometimes I'm not really savvy in the way of posting things and getting 100,000 likes. I mean, I'll get maybe 30 likes on something, if that. But I'll use Instagram, for instance. So you'll post something and it's from a concert and you get a bunch of likes. Like for me, I think something I've gotten the most likes on is maybe 120 likes. And you're like, oh my God, this is really cool. 120 people appreciated this. And it's cool. And then you post another thing that you also think might be cool. And then that gets 5 likes, or it gets 10 likes. And then you start analyzing yourself. You're like, why did this not get as much and everything else? Frankly, I'm at the point now, I'm like, who cares? I mean, I'm posting this for me in theory, or just to save it kind of to an online cloud-based system that everyone can see. And who really cares who else sees it? That's where I'm kind of getting to. But then with that attitude, that goes with other things. So it's just a really complicated place when you're posting stuff on like Instagram, for instance. That's like the example I'm using. But then also Instagram lately has just been it's getting weird. And most of my my search things on Instagram are like gym motivational quotes, comic books, and movie things, just like movie facts, Game of Thrones facts, and comic book news is what my feed is usually populated with, or you might like this. However, lately it's been getting like more and more not that, And not that I have a problem with style things or more of like the Pinterest things on Instagram. I don't really have an issue with that, but more like every day there's more and more of that popping in, and I just kind of have to go through and close all that out. And it's just getting like annoying where I'm like, is this happening on purpose? Is it just how the algorithm is working now? And it's just grinding my gears. So I'm thinking about maybe taking a little break from that if it has nothing to do with the podcast, or I don't know, something that would like be a positive input to the universe. But apart from that, I may just take a break from that. And then Twitter, I don't really understand Twitter. I'm going to be honest. I use one for this, and I've used it in the past, but I just can't get into it. I don't know. Maybe that makes me sound like an old person. And I get Twitter. I get why people like it. It just, maybe because I don't have a big following of any kind is why Twitter isn't cool for me. But if I was someone who had more of a following, maybe Twitter would become more useful, so you can kind of talk to people almost one-on-one or have these like forum type conversations. But yeah, so that's another check where I'm like, that's not really a thing I do. And then Facebook is like Facebook. I mean, for me personally, I just post a random picture every now and then to ensure everyone around me that I'm not dead. And I'm still here, guys. I'm still alive. But honestly, I don't think I've really gone through Facebook besides seeing a random meme or one of those cooking videos that no one knows the recipes to but look delicious. Okay, wait, let's talk about that. You all know what I'm talking about, those cooking videos where someone will make the most delicious looking fish taco, or they'll make a chocolate cake that looks like it's out of a movie or it's made with CGI, and there's no recipe. It's just like tasty or yummy at the end. And I'm like, how did you make this? Where did you get this wizardry? And I click for it. It's not there. And it drives me crazy. And my Facebook is that, or videos from, I think they're probably Russia, like dash cam videos of people getting into like huge fights on the road. And I'm like, is this happening all the time in Russia? Is that like a thing? Or are we just seeing like the 1% of 1% of it? Because like it's like fail videos. But there's so many of them that I'm starting to think, oh, maybe it's just crazy there. Who knows? But yeah, my Facebook, that just the videos that come up, like 90% of the time are just they're either cooking or weird, or a video that's from YouTube that's just been edited down, or it's been re-tagged with like the meme title at the top and bottom with the white borders, where it's like, tag a friend if you think this, or if your name starts with the letter M, tag them in this video. Essentially just clickbait or tagging someone bait. It's just to get views. So those get a little obnoxious, and that's just why Facebook has just been kind of grinding my gears as well. But yeah, does anyone know how Facebook has a video feature now that I've been talking about? So everyone either knows it already or is like, yeah, dude, we get it. How does that work? And how do those videos get compiled in the same like stream or list? Does anyone know? Or maybe it's really obvious and I'm just not on Facebook enough to realize. But yeah, that's one of the social medias that I just never go on. But I feel like if I delete, there's so many people who are like cousins or friends from like grade school or high school that if I deleted, I'd never find again. And I mean, for family members, that's like, yeah, you keep it for that. But for those people from grade school and high school, if I don't remember their names, if I deleted Facebook, are they really that important? I don't know. That's something you have to think to yourself. And that might sound kind of like mean or cold, but I don't know. I've just been thinking that lately, where I think my Facebook has something like 1,600 or 1,700 people on mine, maybe less. I don't know. Maybe it's 1,300, but I look through it and I know all the names. I'm not friends with random people, but if I deleted it tomorrow and then re-added people, how many people could I actually think of off the top of my head to re-add? Maybe 95 people, if that. And I always think, I'm like, does that mean I should just defriend all these people or delete this? Because I have a lot of friends who've done it recently who will just get rid of their old Facebook and kind of start fresh and do that with a lot of their different social medias. And a buddy of mine just did that. He just went off social media completely. He just wiped himself. And I don't know, the more I hear people doing it, the more it sounds like nice. And he said he's so much happier just not having to look at Facebook, not having to look at Instagram, not having to look at Twitter, because it gives you so much more time in your day. And that's, I think, why I would do it. Apart from uploading this, I would just pretty much not get involved. But yeah, I don't know. That's a thought I've had. But back to Facebook. How does the feed work as well? Is it because I'll post something, say, about the podcast, and then it instantly vanishes and I can never find it on my feed? Does it go by time, or does it go by like relevance? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But on thinking about this, when I was kind of generating a few ideas for this show, I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to go all the way back in my Facebook feed to like the day I first made my Facebook, which was probably like 11 or 12 years ago. And how long would it take to go back in time in your timeline of Facebook, not on your own personal page, but on the time, like the public timeline that people post in? How long would it take to go back to the day that you made your Facebook? Because I remember when I made mine, they had the Facebook, was it buttons or pins, and you had the button board. If anyone remembers that, that was like a thing, right? And you could collect the little stickers or buttons and put them on your like your cork board. And that was something super cool, and that went away forever ago. But I've always thought that, I'm like, could I go all the way back in theory that far? Or is back then in Facebook you just couldn't do it? It just, that isn't there anymore. It's just stored on a server somewhere and not really for access if you wanted to go back. Or it's one of those things like on YouTube, there's like 400 hours uploaded every minute. Is Facebook the same, where it would take you like theoretically 500 years to get back 10 years in real time? Who knows? Those are things I think of when I'm thinking about this podcast. And that probably doesn't make sense to anybody. But it's because I'm doing one too many of these podcasts alone and I'm losing my mind. But also with that and losing my mind, Snapchat. I don't even know what to think anymore. Snapchat, I literally use it to talk to like 4 of my friends. I used to talk to my roommates. I used to talk to Emma and like 2 of my other buddies, and that's it. And people's Snapchat stories are one of 2 things, 3 things. Super cool, like, oh, that's awesome that you're going to go do this certain thing or whatever. Like you're jumping out of a plane. That's super cool. That's awesome on Snapchat. They're drunk stories, which I'm like, I don't care. No one cares. You look like you look like a fool. Or it's people who are Snapchatting an entire concert, which is not okay. If you're Snapchatting an entire concert, dude, just go to the concert and live in the concert. You don't Snapchat a 15-minute long story, because I'm already halfway through it now, and you've wasted 7 minutes of my life watching a really, really, really bad version of a concert from your phone with horrible audio. It drives me crazy. And it's at least 4 times a week I'll get those. And you could say, Russell, just don't watch. But I'm a slave to Snapchat. And that's one that if I deleted would probably be a bummer, because Snapchatting for me is almost like texting at this point. I think I probably Snapchat like my roommates, Emma, and one of my buddies more often than I physically text them. So that's the only one that I could see myself being like, ooh, that's a bummer if I left. But yeah, I don't know, the internet's crazy. And when I think about this and thinking about being like a slave to likes or downloads or whatever, I kind of, or is when I first started doing this podcast and when Emma first started with me, I first started uploading to Spotify for free, and you can't really see your statistics on who downloads you or not. And then I switched platforms to Spreaker, and you get this crazy ability when you pay for it to be able to see who downloads, or like how many people download your episode, when and where and everything. You get all these analytics on what you're doing. And that's really cool. But I think from week 2 or 3 I switched, up until week like 7, I was so fixated on, oh my God, I got 4 less downloads this week or 6 less downloads this week than last week. And it would make me kind of crazy about, I was like, oh my God, I have to change the podcast. I have to do this to impress these people. I have to make it this much better to attract an audience. And I've kind of realized that if people like what I'm saying or like what Emma and I do, they'll listen. If not, they won't. And that's just how you build an audience, is like, it's just time and dedication, and keep doing it and literally seeing what sticks with an audience. And then if it works, you keep doing that. If there's certain things that people legitimately hate, you don't do that. But other than that, it's just keep it organic. And that's something I've been kind of realizing, just doing it myself as well, and doing the dumb people online things, because I've gotten some, I guess, some negative responses to it. And to that I say, you realize I'm joking, right? And to everyone else, thank you for continuing to listen. But yeah, I've just kind of realized that lately, where I should probably just stop looking at how many people download the show or how many people do a thing, unless they're like giving me feedback or want to know about something. But it just drove me crazy for a little bit going into it. And I mean, I take the podcast as seriously as any other hobby-esque thing I do. But yeah, that was something that was really, really driving me nuts until I guess it kind of clicked until Emma told me as well, just don't worry about it. You'll be funny if you're funny. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. And yeah, it just is a podcast about everything and nothing. And this is one of those episodes that I just guess I don't know if just venting. Am I venting? I might be venting, guys. I might be going crazy. This is what happens when you leave someone on a podcast alone for too long. They lose their mind. But I was thinking, sorry, I had to cut there. My computer died. And if that was a really weird transition, I'm sorry. Time has passed through the magic of computer editing and audio and such. So I've been thinking, would it be interesting? I know this is a medium where you cannot reply to me, and you will not be able to reply until hours after I'm done talking. I was thinking recently, because I watch a lot of cooking tutorials on YouTube, I was thinking it would be interesting to do some podcasts, so this is like episode 15, right? So doing some episodes that are specifically designed for if you're cooking, or if you're doing the laundry, or you're walking on your way to work, or on a campus, or taking the bus, or watching a movie. I was thinking about maybe starting a little bit of like, you have the weekly episode, which is episode 15, 16, 17, so on. But you also have these sub-episodes where it could be Emma and myself, and we're making our own recipe. So it's kind of like a cooking show, and we'll leave the recipe in the description. But it's kind of a you cook along with us talking. And I know, at least when I cook, I'll listen to music, or I'll actually listen to another podcast. And I think it'd be kind of fun to potentially cook alongside a podcast that is cooking, so it kind of gives you this illusion that you're cooking with a group of people. I don't know. That's something that maybe that I've kind of wanted to hear, and if that's something that already exists out there, I didn't know, but it's a cool idea, I guess. I think it's a cool idea if someone else is doing it, but we may also do that. And like I've been talking about before, doing the commentaries for different things, and I think that'd just be an interesting subgenre part of the podcast that we're doing, because this is titled, the podcast about everything and nothing, and I think that would perfectly fit the description. It's just doing short episodes, maybe like a 10-15 minute episode instead of the normal, however long these are, 30 to 50 minute episodes, about just like whatever the topic is. We could do a genre one, so almost, like a cooking once a week. This is the recipe we've chosen, so if you want to cook along with us while we talk and just banter, you can. Or almost even like a movie club, so we'll talk about a movie on one episode or TV show, and then be like, next week we're going to discuss this and do our next one, like a book club. So I was thinking that might be something interesting to do alongside the normal scheduled programming, which I'm really bad about sticking to. I would just think that might be an interesting thing to experiment with it. And if people like that, if people are listening and they personally know me, just text me or email the show and just say that you think that's a great idea, or I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. Both of those two things, I'll take the criticism, or I'll take the what is the word? The reinforcement or reassurance that my ideas aren't dumb. But yeah, so that's something that has kind of been in the works and would be a little bit of an escape from just me sitting on social media and going crazy, or me just having this whole I need to do something better with the show, because I've had that lately as well, where with the podcast or other creative things that I do, I'll put out like one a week or one a month or what have you, and then in that meantime I'm just like, I could do more. And that doesn't just have to do with like having the time to physically do it, but I feel maybe doing these micro episodes or even a video portion of the podcast for people who might want to do that, to have more of this, maybe like not even a round table, but like almost like an interview style with the podcast, visually speaking, might be interesting, because I know the company Fullscreen.com does that as like an extra thing for people, and I was thinking we could just put it out for free, just for people who want to physically see us talking into the microphone, which I feel like would be the most boring video ever, because it's legitimately usually me and Emma, but last 2 weeks just me, sitting in front of a computer and a laptop with a desk microphone and looking up facts online or texting while talking. So, but if people want us to do that, we'll do it. But on that note, video. Sorry, I went on a really weird tangent there. Video. So with YouTube, I used to have this thing where I'm like, I want to be a YouTuber as a term. And that was kind of when I was in high school and starting college. I was like, I had a camera at the time. And I was like, well, I could just do a vlog and do YouTube as a thing. Sorry if you heard that. There's a notification on my computer because I'm really professional. So I was like, I could do YouTube as a thing. And back then it was two things. It wasn't considered a real job or a real source of income by the vast majority of people, but also the people who did it were, I guess, generally speaking, really looked up to, and these like quasi celebrities. But now in the last, since the whole Paul Brothers thing has exploded, for better or worse, the YouTubers have become somewhat not looked up to, but also legitimate celebrities and a legitimate job by a lot of people. Like Logan Paul, yeah, he was on like 60 Minutes or CBS talking about his whole thing. And I'm like, that's nuts that they have a guy who's famous from Vine and YouTube on the news talking about his video. But I guess like hundreds of millions of kids watch those, so they are like relevant to people and to parents who might have no idea who the Paul brothers are or what they do. Like they're real celebrities. And it's weird to think that when I wanted to do YouTube really bad, and I mean, these go to YouTube and I upload my own film projects there, but it's not like vlogging or anything that'll get me a following. But when I wanted to do that, I was like, I can do this. But now it's almost, in my opinion, and that's not saying anything at all, but it's like, oh no, people might look down on you, not because they think you don't have a real job, but they associate you with this other negative now. And that's really scary, because YouTube is supposed to be like this place where anyone can do anything, and it's just kind of a safe place for creators. But I don't know, it almost seems like that could be changing by people taking like a negative advantage or advantage over it, negative advantage over this platform. But that's just a thought I've had. It's really interesting, because I love YouTube. That's probably, out of all the social medias, I'm on YouTube the most, just watching videos, learning things, just watching reviews. But yeah, it's crazy to think that. So when I was a kid, I think everyone has idols they look up to who are celebrities. So you can look up to like a Tom Hanks or Will Smith or like Chris Pratt as someone you're like, oh, this guy's an awesome action hero, or this guy's this, that, or the other, and I really want to be like him. And since I do film and directing, I look up to directors like Wes Anderson or Guillermo del Toro or what have you. And I look up to these people and I'm like, oh, I could become that one day, or I do this and I'm on the same-ish path. And it's crazy that, let's say there's a 6-year-old out there who's watching YouTube. Their person they look up to as their version of that, or their version of Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks, or like a Scarlett Johansson or any actor, actress, anything, would be a YouTuber instead. I think because YouTube as a platform is so much more, I guess, attainable than becoming a film director or a film actor or even a play actor or TV. Because YouTube, all you really need now is a phone and an internet connection of some kind. Because even before, probably even 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more, your phone wasn't an adequate camera. But now for doing YouTube things or low-ish level filming, your iPhone or Android will do the trick, and the microphone on there will do the trick for a vlog or, I don't know, a fail video. And I think a lot of kids see that and they're like, oh, I can be exactly like him. But now with YouTube getting different, there's certain people like, oh no, like looking up to this might be a bad thing. But it's just crazy to think that if I went over and talked to a 6-year-old, which would be a very strange conversation, and ask him who his like media heroes are, he might say Logan Paul or Jake Paul, or I have no idea. I don't know who anyone on YouTube is. I watch like 6 different channels, but I just watch them religiously. So it'd just be interesting to hear what they think of a hero, or I'm sure most like 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds who watch like Let's Play gamers on YouTube or vloggers would know 1,000 times more, like 1,000 times as many vloggers as they would actors. And that's nuts to me that kids are going to be like, oh, I watch this channel, this channel, this channel, this channel religiously. And they'd be like, who's Tom Hanks, or who's Michael Bay, or who's, I don't know, I'm trying to give out really generic names here. But yeah, it's just interesting to me to think that's like how things are changing. Sorry if you heard that. I'm just kicking stuff because I guess I have restless legs when I'm recording this. But yeah, those are just been some of my thoughts just doing this podcast and doing some research around it and trying to always come up with something interesting and different to say every week. And I just always think about it because I put this on social media. So I guess in the loosest form ever, I'm a content creator, which I don't know what to think about that, because this is just essentially me sitting in shorts talking to a computer, and people listen for, hopefully they think I'm interesting or funny, but I have no idea why. But thank you for listening. You must know why, and I really do appreciate it. And I know Emma appreciates it as well, because she's 50% of the show, even though she's never here. I only say that because I know she's going to listen to this. And last week I did my Emma impression, and she loved it. She really loved it. Sorry, I had to do it again. But yeah, so those have kind of been my thoughts on like social media and taking my diet from it, and just what I see from it as someone who's on social media and who does do YouTube very lightly and does this podcast. And maybe people who are listening totally disagree, and that's fine, because I'm not saying YouTube is bad. I'm not saying any of it's bad. It's all good. But I guess it's one of those, with great power comes great responsibility sort of things. And people on YouTube are getting more and more and more power. And I think there's like a level of those people need to be responsible, just like, I don't know who, like Shia LaBeouf, who, I guess he turned into a meme, but he's like an actor who went crazy? Did he go crazy? I don't know what happened to him. But someone on YouTube doing the same will have the same amount of influence as an actor doing it. It's almost becoming, fame-wise, a level playing field, which is crazy to think. But yeah, so that is my thoughts on that. And I know those are kind of like loosely strung together, kind of just side tangents. But yeah, that's just sort of what I was thinking and what I really wanted to talk about this week. But apart from that, yeah, everything has been good this week. But next week, hopefully, Emma will be back, or we'll have a special guest to talk about something. So let's cross our fingers for that. And if anyone is listening and they want to be a special guest next weekend, please let me know. That'd be really helpful. Otherwise, I'll just do another one myself, and that doesn't bother me. But it's always fun to hear opinions of other people, or if Emma comes back. But yeah. But again, thank you so much for listening. I think this is week 15, and that's crazy to me that we're already at week 15 of this show. It sounds dumb, but I literally feel like I uploaded the first episode of this, and I was super nervous for episode 1, legitimately last week. But hopefully on the show, Emma and I seem way less nervous and way less uptight with it. And hopefully the episodes have continued to be entertaining or insightful or funny. And if not, I guess we'll try harder, maybe. Yeah. But thank you so much. Again, this has been See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. And I think this week I really earned the title about everything and nothing for sure. But if you want to contact the show on social media, I'm still there. The email is letussseewhatsticks@gmail. Then all the other social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, the pages are See What Sticks or @See What Sticks. And it should be the only one that's that title, which I'm really lucky that no one else picked that name, which is nuts. But yeah, thank you so much again. I'd love for people to contact the show, write in questions, do all that fun stuff. But if not, thank you again. And I will catch you next week for a episode that comes out on time. Thank you so much. Have a nice week. Bye-bye.